Today is going to be a great video. We are on the development build given to me by Supercell to show you a sneak peek of the new update. So I'm going to be showing you everything in the update, giving you an overview of what's coming. Guys, the update should be here this week, so it's very close. It's around the corner. Of course, the dev build doesn't always accurately represent the game when it's released. This is just a development build that they use when they're testing. So some things might change. Yep, they might get delayed, all of that stuff. Okay, let's jump into it. So there's no HQ, which is good because we've gotten a lot of those pretty much every year for the last couple of years. So no HQ, we got a new troop and we got a new defense, which is really interesting. The last new defense that we got was the shock launcher, which came out years ago. So I'm very pumped, very excited. We got a new defense. So let's start with that, guys. Let's start with that. So the critter launcher is a new defense that you get at HQ 12. So it's a very early game defense, which is really good for those lower level players. At a maxed out level, you get 4 of them. So when you have a maxed out HQ, you get 4. I'm not actually sure when you get all 4. I guess that really doesn't matter for most people, but I can gym up all 4 of these guys. And we're gonna go through the upgrade to see the upgrades on them. So level 1 looks kind of puny. Let's look at the stats. So they deal 38 damage per second. I don't know if that damage per second is the critters hitting something or if it's the critters that are dealing damage. We're gonna see it in action in a minute, so we'll see exactly how it works. So it lobs critters at a long distance. They are not only a great distraction, but they also deal a lot of damage. So it's really interesting because this is kind of the first time we've seen a troop-like thing attacking your own troops. So that is going to be a change inside of Boom Beach. So it's going to shoot critters that are going to distract, and it's going to force the troops to target the critters instead of the defenses. I think this is going to be a really interesting defense, probably one of the best, I'm assuming. So just like the shock launcher, rocket launcher, mortar, it has a dead zone. So anything hitting it, pretty much a melee troop hitting it or other critters from the opponent hitting the critter launcher, it won't fire. The range honestly is not that long, so I'm not really sure why they said a long range. I would consider this like a long range. We'll see it in action though to see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna gym it up. We'll max out this, so level 3. I'm not actually sure how many levels there are, so we'll gym this up. Again, this is a development build. It's starting to look beefy though. Like if we look at it now, it's dealing 60 damage per second. It also, I think it has 2 cannons, even though there's only 1 on top of it. So I think, oh, okay, there we go. Now we have 2 cannons. So I think it'll shoot 2 critters at once. I don't know if you have to get up to that upgrade before you get it. But now we got the base of the defense is upgrading very nicely, and it's very similar to how other defenses upgrade. I'm really glad we got this at a low level and not at a high level. So it maxes out at level 16. You can see the difference between that and a level 1 critter launcher. Very big difference. Let's see it in action to see how it works. So here's a base that has a maxed critter launcher, and it's pretty it's like a decent base. Like this is a base you would come across and attack. So let's see how it works. You probably wouldn't be using all riflemen when you attack it, but we'll see what happens. So we got into range, and it's shooting a shock or kind of like a damage thing. And I'm trying to think, I do see some critters. This definitely was not the troop to try this on. But we do see, yeah, like a critter popping out, 2 critters popping out. It looks like the cannon is alternating and it's not shooting 2 at a time. But yeah, you can see them distracting the riflemen. Really cool. And I really feel like it's going to be a game changer when it comes to even like leaderboard players. I think it's really going to make a huge difference. So just so we can see it a little bit better, let's just load up a Scorcher or 2 Scorchers and go and attack it. To see what it looks like, just so we can see it a little more clearly instead of everything hitting it. So we'll go from this side, and we're gonna shock the shock launcher because I don't want it hitting me. All right, so we're in range. It shoots a shot, so it looks like it's shooting a shot at the defenses, and once it hits, or sorry, the troops, and once it hits the troops, it breaks out into a critter. It looks like once the troop is targeted onto a building, it won't retarget onto the critter. So the critter can deal a lot of damage if it's taking out a long lasting building. So I'm assuming if you're hitting the core and critters are spawned, your troops won't redirect to the critter. So it'll just be like a defense hitting your troops, another defense, a critter hitting your troops. So that's really interesting. Of course, I haven't really done too many tests with it, so I'm not sure for certain. But that is the new defense. I'm hyped about it. I think it's a really, really cool defense, a really, really good idea. And honestly, I have to give it to Boom Beach. I love this defense. Moving on, we have a new troop, the Laser Ranger. We see this in Boom Beach Frontlines. You can hold 9 in a maxed out boat. These are what the little troops look like. Let's look at the stats here. 3 unit size. This is a level 1 Laser Ranger. You unlock their Laser Ranger at HQ 19. They max out at HQ 25. So we see moderate speed, medium range. We have 480 damage per second, which is honestly a lot. Like if we look at a Rifleman, that's 200 damage per second. So it's about double the Rifleman. At a level 1, like now I'll max it out for you guys so you can see the progression. I think all these gold amounts should be accurate as well, so you can see how much it will cost to max out. It's very expensive. So just like the Crownier, we have a beam extension which makes the beam longer. So we'll max that out. So level 1, level 2 is 7.3, level 4 is 7.5, level 5 is 7.7. It's very expensive, guys. Level 6 is getting up there. Level 8 or level 7 is already 8 million. Level 8, 8.2. Level 9, 8.3. Level 10, I think this might be the max. No? Level 11. And you can pause it to see the stats at each level, but we'll see here. Okay, maxed out. We have 500 HP, 550. Damage per second is 647. And it's not even... I think it's more than that, actually, because I think it deals damage behind the defense, just like our Crownier. So 11 beam extension at a maxed out level. Let's load up all Laser Rangers and see what they look like in action. Okay, here we go. And why not attack it with the max Laser Ranger base? I'm actually going to go retreat. I'm going to try to defeat this base. So that's my goal here. So okay, we don't have anything else. We'll just bring Iron Will, not the best defense. Or, you know what? Let's actually bring Battle Orders. I mean, not the best ability. I really wanted Dr. Kavan or something. Okay, here we go. So, let's just drop them all in a line. I don't know the best strategy for this. They have these little bubbles. They're blowing bubbles. So this is exactly how they look inside of Boom Beach Frontlines. So I'm going to shock the shock launchers because, again, I'm trying to defeat this. Activate my hero. This is sick. These troops are insane. Like, this is looks like a maxed out base. And I probably wouldn't bring 9 of them. I just don't think you need 9. But insane. Sorry, I don't think I would bring 8 boats of them. Like, honestly, if you bring 4 boats of laser Rangers, 4 boats of heavies, plus Dr. Kavan, I think that would be a really good strategy. It looks like I needed a tanking troop in front of my troops. So let's just attack a different base here. We got Zedmont. A little bit easier. And let's drop them all in the same place and shock the shock launcher. Shock launchers, there's multiple. Yeah, I mean, they're very weak. They have not really a lot of HP, so you need a tanking troop in front of your troops. But you can see that they do deal quite a bit of damage. So they hit the initial building, and then they deal damage after that building. And I gotta say, like, these look insane. Great addition to the game. You might be asking, how is it different from the Lasertron, which is a tank that basically does this? And I think they're pretty much the same type of troop. However, these I feel like are, I mean, obviously they have less HP. I think you get more bang for your buck for these. I would say the Lasertron doesn't really compare to this troop. I think this troop is way better than the Lasertron. But we'll see how it is in action. I don't know if I would use this. Yeah, I mean, they obviously deal a lot of damage, and they're able to just destroy the base. But I don't know what troop I would pair with it, because you'd want a troop that can deal a little bit of damage, and I don't think heavies would be the best troop. However, you might be able to do like 3 heavies, 2 bombardiers, 3 or maybe, yeah, 3 laser rangers. Okay, that's the laser ranger. So I got the 2 big items, new troop, new defense. Now let's go over some of the smaller notes. So I have a little notepad here with all the notes. So we got a visual change for the tribes. If we zoom out all the way, you can see that there's just a tribe change. You don't really see the borders around each tribe. They also added new troops into the rotation. So all of the new troops that we got recently, so Bombardier, Mech, and Laser Ranger will all be in the rotation for troop boosts. We don't see any here, but they'll be in the rotation, and probably also, I would guess, the critter launcher or the critter cannon will also be in the defense rotation. The mechs got a buff, so let's load up all mechs here. Or we'll just do one boat of mechs so you can see the buff here. But yeah, mechs, very glad we got a buff because they definitely needed a buff. So we finally got one. Let's see what they look like in action. So you'll see here that the mechs, so take note, the boom cannons are not firing. The mechs will stun defenses. I think before they slowed them down or not fully stunned. Now they will stun. So the boom cannon just isn't firing. They're also faster. I don't know if you were able to see that. They're very, I mean, it's not much, but they did get a little boost. And then they also have slightly better damage. Not much, but again, just little buffs because I guess they would rather take it little steps and not make a troop really, really good and then have to buff or nerf it later. So that's the mech. Just a little bit better. So we also got a Predator troop buff. The Stunner, Vampire Zuka, Incinerator, Turret Engineer, and Protector all got buffs. We don't know what those buffs are until we see them again. I'm very glad about the Turret Engineer and the Protector, 2 of the worst Predator troops. I kind of wish they did the Critter Engineer as well because the Critter Engineer is awful, just like the Turret Engineer, whatever. The Boom Surprise also got a buff. The Boom Surprise will hit flying troops now, which really only matters in warships. I think it'll help counter the heavy choppers, rocket choppers. So now we can swap accounts a lot faster. I think other Supercell games have already implemented this where you can swap an account with like 2 clicks. I think the dev build is a little different here when it comes to that. Duplexity has been increased, so the difficulty on Duplexity has been increased, which I think is warranted. A lot of the top players have already beaten Duplexity and are beating Duplexity each time. I'm not going to be able to tell you what makes it harder, but if I had to guess, I would say it's probably just more health boosts on the bases and maybe higher level defenses. We also are seeing the critter launchers in here, which I think will be interesting. I'm glad they're implementing the new defense into the operations. I think that's a really good idea. There's a new task force loading screen. And a new game loading screen that you just saw. So the new task force, I don't really know where that would be. It doesn't really matter. We also see this statue up here. I don't know when that was added. Pretty much it. I mean, just a few quality of life improvements, a few graphical changes, but really the update comes down to 2 things. We have the critter cannons, which are a really cool, unique defense, and the laser ranger, which is a really cool, unique troop. I'm so excited that this is kind of the update. You know, a lot of people were wanting something like operations or like task force versus task force. I don't think that will ever come out, but I am glad in this update. I think it's a pretty solid update with the new troop, new defense, especially getting the new defense at a low level. I think it will really make a difference to the game. So I'm excited. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like, and hopefully we'll see this update this week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.